Hello, loves. So I finished the Essential Kabbalah, The Heart of Jewish Mysticism by Daniel C. Matt maybe a week or two ago, and I just wanted to read some of the second half of this book. I hope that you're all well. So this selection is called Gates of Holiness by Hayyam Vital, a 16th to 17th century Kabbalist. To attain, you must be alone, so that your contemplation not be disturbed. In your mind, cultivate aloneness to the utmost. Strip your body from your soul, as if you do not feel that you are clothed in matter at all. You are entirely soul. The more you strip yourself of material being, the more powerful your comprehension. If you sense any sound or movement that breaks your meditation, or any material imagining arises within you, then your soul's contemplation will be severed from the upper worlds. You will attain nothing, since supernal holiness does not abide with anyone attached by even a hair to the material realm. So I just want to stop here and make a comment. I think that this helps us understand that it's not just what we're doing on our spiritual path, but it's how we're doing it. It doesn't necessarily, it may help sitting for meditation for the discipline of it and the regularity and practice of it. But to truly get the effects of meditation, there has to be a sort of depth and richness and quality to it. In my mind, meditation is to allow yourself to shift into a different brainwave state. I don't know how to say it. To connect to the divine, often to release grief, maybe through weeping, to feel and generate a higher energy. And the feeling afterwards, I think, at least in my experience, most effectively would be akin to how you feel after you get a massage or after you leave a really rich yoga class, after you have sort of an intimate connection with someone that has depth and significance and meaning, after you've just come in from sort of a delirious multi-houred connection with the warm sun, maybe on a beach or walking through a forest. There's just kind of a release of tension, and you feel more grounded, you feel more grateful, happier to be alive. So that's the kind of experience that I think this author is talking about, and it's those experiences that help us gain something, that connect us to what is called here the upper worlds. And we access it through contemplating ourselves as entirely soul and entirely energy. It really is. That's why, closing your eyes could be a part of your meditation. Therefore, prophecy or the Holy Spirit is called deep sleep, dream, or vision. To sum up, even if you are worthy for the Holy Spirit to rest upon you, if you do not train yourself to completely strip your soul from your body, the Spirit will not rest upon you. This is the secret reason that a band of prophets has timbrels, flutes, and other instruments. For the sweetness of melody, aloneness descends upon them, and they strip their souls. Then the musicians stop the melody, and the prophets remain in that supernal state of union, and they prophesy. So I think it's really interesting, this first sentence, therefore prophecy or the Holy Spirit is called deep sleep, dream, or vision, because meditative states get you close to dream states. You're accessing maybe certain brain waves that you encounter while you sleep through, one of the stages. When we're sleeping, we're in a different state of consciousness, and we experience the world in maybe a particular way. We see, we smell, we taste in a particular way. There's an element of surrealness and otherworldliness, something that, a storyline that is bizarre and somewhat linear, but it is the space of magical realism almost. So I think that's interesting. And then the rest of this, talking about the tools, timbrels, flutes, and other instruments, for through the sweetness of melody, I think that, that kind of refers to the use of, in various rituals and in meditation, of using chanting, using in your guided meditations music that can, again, sort of help you depart or escape from your material and energetic suffering and bring you into a heightened experience and feeling and world. It says, when the musicians stop the melody, then the musicians stop the melody, and the prophets remain in that supernal state, and they prophesy. So there's kind of this beautiful lingering of your experience once you get up from, your meditation cushion. And there can be a surge of sort of creativity and inspiration, even after you open your eyes. And so even if you don't sort of engage in anything creative afterwards, you could still consume, this would be my suggestion, just something that works for me, you could still consume material, entertainment, practices, activities that kind of feed your soul. And then also maybe if you're doing, let's say, like domestic chores, you can just find a way to really be present and to extend that feeling and that state for as long as you can. And this is why I think it's also important to realize that you can return to your zafu, your meditation cushion, your seat, multiple times throughout the day. I'm still trying to be disciplined with this. I would love to have a meditation in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. I usually wait until I'm just I desperately need some mental health help before I meditate in the day. And, sometimes I don't get to it at all. But I think that the more you can be in that state, the more pleasurable life will be. And the more resilient we can be, and the better we can cope with the material third dimension, as Gaia.com likes to say. If you wish to attain aloneness, you must first return to God from having strayed and missed the mark. Be careful not to miss again. Train yourself to eliminate negative habits such as anger, depression, impatience, and chatter. If you wish to attain aloneness and to receive the Holy Spirit, regard every insight you gain and every light you perceive as darkness. When you see that you have attained a little, concentrate more deeply in your meditation until you experience a pure spirit speaking within you words of Torah, wisdom, devotion, purity, and holiness on its own, without your will. Having attained this, impel yourself to draw forth the Holy Spirit often until you weaken and verge on fainting. Then strengthen yourself and pray this prayer with perfect intention. There's so much to say here. I think that when it says you must first return to God from having strayed, this is how I feel every day when I maybe haven't meditated like the day before and I'm waiting until late afternoon to meditate, and I find myself longing for sort of connection with the divine self and the divine spirit that's within and surrounding. And it feels sometimes like a return, but it's such a delicious sweetness when it does come and you can feel something. So I think there's really, just even at that very superficial level, just looking at the return. You must first return. How do we first return? I think it's just making a decision to go to our meditation. And then to regard every insight you gain and every light you perceive as darkness. I'm not sure what that means. If I had to say something right now, it reminds me of what is in the Kabbalah in certain writings that talk about, and maybe I might move to those next, that talk about sort of it's titled in this work as the dangers or the risks of contemplation and meditation. I would guess that it talks about, it suggests to us to, if we remain in darkness, there's something that's not known, there's something that's not certain. So when we gain an insight and we perceive a light, it could be suggesting to stay within that curiosity, open to still receiving, instead of, or as opposed to, knowing and shutting the door. Because there's this idea in the Kabbalah and also in Gnosticism that there is sort of a sweetness and a wisdom in not knowing or not thinking you've grasped on. So again, I don't know. I think it's an interesting line though. And also just this idea of weakening and verging on fainting just reminds me of Angela Di Foligno and the other medieval mystics that sort of fall down into a state and, can't speak and can't eat. They're just kind of in that state of ecstasy. also, saying that you're doing this until you experience the Spirit on its own without your will. So I guess there could be a state of being continually in higher vibrations, not just when you're meditating, not just afterwards, but throughout, with your eyes open as you're going forth through the day. In fact, I'm quite sure that that's what, most monks and other spiritual people have achieved or are trying to achieve, and it makes sense that we all would be. That we wouldn't necessarily have to initiate and draw forth and seek, but it would find us in response to our continual dedication. So this is the prayer. Master of all the worlds, to you it is revealed and known that I am not engaged in all of this for my own glory, but rather for the glory of your name, for the glory of the oneness of your being, so that I will know you, how to serve you and bless your name. Enable me to search for you, discover you, strengthen me, embolden me, enlighten my eyes, lest I sleep, the sleep of death. Create a pure heart for me, O God, rejuvenate within me a steadfast spirit. Draw forth the Spirit until you see and know for certain that it is bound to you perpetually, inseparably engraved within you. Sanctify your limbs and adorn them with good deeds, making yourself into a throne for the divine presence, your body an ark for the Shekinah. When you do a good deed, you sanctify yourself. So first, I love this idea. You are the throne. You don't have to hope that, with the oncoming or the impending cataclysm that someone out there is building another ark, like Noah. You are the ark. Be the ark. Be the throne. Be the, you can say in your meditation, and I can't remember now because I put it on Instagram as a quote. Now I can't remember what book it comes from. But I'm just blanking. Someone will be able to tell me, or I can just check, I guess, my own Instagram. But you can say in your meditation, it's not that I hope that this is a perfect day, but I am the perfect day. Or I recently came across some inventors who have a secret, apparently, invention based on maybe the works of Tesla, based on a secret contemporary. There's a lot of elusiveness in this company, but I won't go into that. And I guess they're trying to work with like the energetic field, and it's sort of how, if you know about the biotuning field or tuning forks and how you can have remote sessions with healers, and they can sort of use tuning forks to, I guess, recalibrate your own vibrations in your body. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you could look it up, or just ignore this part. That this is what they are trying to do, and you can pay for a monthly subscription. I saw it through Regina Meredith's, I think, like her Instagram, and I went to a live session and it wasn't a good experience for me, but again, this video is not about that. You can pay for a subscription, and somehow they don't tell you. Somehow their machine, and I'm saying it like that because I don't know, I resent the gatekeeping of information. I think we're at a time in our world where we need to be generous with what we're doing, our experiments, our knowledge, our revelation, and I just felt like the whole experience was very politician gaslighting. Okay, I guess I can't not talk about it. So basically, okay, so you can pay a subscription and they will turn on a frequency that I guess infiltrates, that's like not the nicest word, I guess, but your living space. Or it'll come from your phone and you can just be in a continual state of meditation. And I just thought, well, I mean, that's nice if it really works, and I mean, you'll be paying hundreds of dollars, I guess, but you don't need that either. You can say, you know, I am the high vibration. I am the highest vibration. And kind of speak that into yourself. But then the second layer of this is, to you it is revealed and known that I am not engaged in all of this for my own glory. So there's this certain aspect of generosity and balance of giving and receiving, even with the, you know, I am the perfect day, or I am love, or I am peace. You know, the next layer is sending that out. You know, you are love, you are peace, you are the perfect day. The you being whoever you're thinking about, your neighbors, your colleagues, you know, just a general you. And then we are the perfect day. We are love. We are peace. I think it's like in Buddhism and Zen Buddhism, it's metta meditation, maybe. Layered meditation. I may have that wrong. I always forget what it is called, but I'm kind of taking it from that. And then, you know, all beings, all is one, all are one, and all is love, all is peace, all is the perfect day, all is healing, etc. So, you know, you're always, when you are in a higher state, a higher vibration, then you're able to encounter people not in fear, which can cause us to control, to be angry, to avoid, to feel overwhelmed. We can encounter the world and all its beings and other people in like an easier flow and love. Easier for me to say than do with my anxiety. But I think that's, you know, that's what I see here. So I love this, making yourself into a throne. Yourself, your body, you are the ark. So this one is from Abraham Isaac Kook in the 20th century. And it's entitled, What Are We? The greater you are, the more you need to search for yourself. Your deep soul hides itself from consciousness. So you need to increase aloneness, elevation of thinking, penetration of thought, liberation of mind, until finally your soul reveals itself to you, spangling a few sparkles of her lights. So this is an interesting idea, that your soul is revealing itself to you. The soul reveals itself. You're trying to, or you're allowing yourself, you're creating a space through meditation and study and the consuming of what feeds your soul in order to encounter your own soul, which I guess is connected to the soul and all the souls collectively. And then you find bliss, transcending all humiliations or anything that happens by attaining equanimity by becoming one with everything that happens, by reducing yourself so extremely that you nullify your individual imaginary form, that you nullify existence in the depth of yourself. What are we? Then you know every spark of truth, every bolt of integrity flashing everywhere. So there's this idea, this paradoxical idea of annihilating maybe like the ego, and then so therefore creating space for knowledge and truth. And I really love this this phrase, transcending all humiliations. I think that, you know, when people talk about dealing with the shadow self, I think that there's a lot of shame that's buried deeply within a lot of us. And from that shame comes the difficulty and challenge of really loving ourselves and therefore loving others, because, you know, you've probably heard that or come across the idea that when we are disgusted by something in someone else, or we're annoyed or irritated, a lot of times it could be that we're projecting the things that we hate about ourselves, that we're disgusted concerning ourselves. And so we're projecting it out. And we just want to avoid it in others and ourselves as much as we can. But, you know, this sort of spiritual path transcends those humiliations, works with those, with the shame, and transforms it into something we can love and deal with. Then you gather everything without hatred, jealousy, or rivalry. The light of peace and a fierce boldness manifest in you. I think that this is really important too, because I think that a lot of the harm and damage that we do to each other in relationships on a micro and macro level has to do with competition and comparisons. I think we can get so petty thinking that we want to hoard the fame or the attention or the money or whatever it is, usually kind of material or like low vibrational psychological gain, thinking that, you know, not everyone can be special. Not everyone can have abundance. But I think that we should start realizing and imagining that, you know, or asking ourselves, you know, how would the world be if everyone had abundance, if everyone was loved, if everyone had the attention, if everyone had the fame, if everyone had, you know, the high numbers on YouTube, or whatever it is that you feel you want to be the exception for, or that we feel that we want to be the exception for. I'll say it like that. We would be in such a world where everyone would be able to understand how they can uniquely contribute. Everyone would be ready to give a smile or a hug or, you know, just good, sort of welcoming, friendly energies, because everyone would be in a good place, feeling good about themselves. And so then that would just kind of effuse over. I think that we should see throughout history enough that competition and comparisons don't work. We should see that. We should see that when there is a gap between the haves and the have-nots, not just saying that economically, but that's a you know, good, clear place to start. Neither the haves nor the have-nots are happy. So there's the gap, and there are, you know, those who are hoarding and keeping themselves there in a particular position at all costs, and there are those who have lack, but neither is really satisfied or happy. Like you would think the haves would be happy and satisfied, right? But on the whole, we see examples of that not being true. I don't know if I finished this paragraph. I don't think I did. I'm just going to read part of it again. Then you gather everything without hatred, jealousy, or rivalry. The light of peace and a fierce boldness manifest in you. The splendor of compassion. That's really lovely, that there is a splendor of compassion. And the glory of love shine. I'm not going to lie. I just thought of the Peter Cetera song right there. I'm an elder millennial. What can I say? That's what I listened to when I was a young girl. The desire to act and work, the passion to create and restore yourself, the yearning for silence, and for the inner shout of joy. All these band together in your spirit, and you become holy. I really love in the Kabbalah what I've seen, at least in this, I will have to say, in Berg's Essential Zohar, I feel a little bit more moralizing. But in this, the Daniel C. Matt, the Essential Kabbalah, I find it very refreshing that I don't see a lot of moralizing. I see a lot of suggestions that ring true and that empower and I guess soothe the self and redirect the self in a direction that doesn't feel like that you want to go down because you will be rewarded or punished, but because it is what your soul longs for. That's what I find. So I am hoping to get the first volume of the Zohar, which is, I think, edited by Daniel C. Matt and compiled, translated, etc. Next month, if I can swing it. And I'll be interested to see if it differs from Berg's The Essential Zohar. I like Berg's The Essential Zohar, but it's got some moralizing tendencies that I'm not sure I appreciate, and I'm wondering if it's just like his interpretation. So that's all. All right, this is a small section, also by Kook. When you train yourself to hear the voice of God in everything, you attain quintessence of the human spirit. Usually, the mind conceals the divine thoroughly by imagining that there is a separate mental power that constructs mental images. But by training yourself to hear the voice of God in everything, the voice reveals itself to your mind as well. Then, right in the mind, you discover revelation. This is so lovely. I might read it again. But I think a lot of times we can feel that we are in combat with our minds, training, even the words that we use, training the monkey mind, and getting, even the words I use, right? Sitting down for meditation and getting away from the mind or particular thoughts of the mind, that we need to train the mind. And I mean, it's not true, but this perspective or this mindset, I think, helps us get away from a dualistic, combative understanding of the parts of who we are. And I mean, how wonderful and how beautiful to see in even our preoccupations or our thoughts that we engage in throughout the day. Those are revelations now. Those become revelations of the, spirit, I guess. When you train yourself to hear the voice of God in everything, you attain the quintessence of the human spirit. So you're like always looking out for it. You're always expecting it. You're in optimistic anticipation of it. And it's like what you look for, you find. If you are looking for, angel numbers, like you'll see them on the, on your microwave or wherever you have, time presented to you. It's like it feels like it comes to you, but maybe it does, but you're also just aware of it and in tune with it, attuned to it and noticing it. Usually the mind conceals the divine thoroughly, and that feels true. Usually the mind conceals the divine. The mind is what, is giving us anxiety or depressing us or reiterating habitual self-disparagement. So it seems like, or it does, usually the mind conceals the divine. But this is an interesting articulation how it does it, by imagining that there is a separate mental power that constructs the mental images. So again, it's getting away from competition and comparison, even within ourselves, away from duality and into a unity that draws out something that's good and beautiful and divine and infuses everything with it. Then right in the mind, you discover revelation. Oh, I skipped a sentence. But by training yourself to hear the voice of God in everything, the voice reveals itself to your mind as well. Then right in the mind, you discover revelation. Okay, so I think I'll stop there, mainly because I'm cold and there's just so much within these. I might have to do a couple more videos on this. But happy Thursday if you are listening to this on Thursday. I hope that you are all well. And let me know in the comments, how your meditation is going, what tools you use to meditate, because I want to learn from you.